Matter of fact, give it up for the whole team. Give it up for the entire team too. Y'all got to do better than that. DeAndre Watson, ladies and gentlemen. Edwina King. Daniela Warren. Lisa Jennings. Reginald Alexander. So good morning, everyone. I'm sorry, I gotta say it the right way. Good morning, District 1. Good morning. All right. So we are thankful. Thank you for being here. You know, weather, we just can't get it right. Just can't get it right. Some we think we're about to cross the corner and got a little rain, but that's okay. It's good to have rain because you can't enjoy the sunshine unless you enjoy the rain. Because it all makes all this work. So we want to thank Lake Ridge Church for allowing us, Lake Ridge Ministries for allowing us to be in this building. Y'all get up for Lake Ridge Ministries. So many of you know, those of you who are frequent visitors to the D1 meetings, that we often have these meetings in buildings that have been repurposed. And that's what we're doing today as well. We're in a building that was for 13 years closed, shut down, shuttered, abandoned. But Lake Ridge Ministries came in and breathed some new life into this building, into this new space. So they've recently opened, and we want to introduce you to Elder Ray Young, who will tell you a bit about the church and what they're doing. Give it up for Elder Ray Young, ladies and gentlemen. Elder Ray Young.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Lake Ridge. And on behalf of my pastor, Pastor Eddie C. Williams, we welcome you to Lake Ridge Ministry. And like I said, it was closed for over 13 years, but under Bishop John Henry Shears, we received this church from the Church of God in Christ. And my pastor came in, put up his sleeves, and has been working ever since, trying to bring this neighborhood back to life. Amen? There's a beacon of hope in the neighborhood. Amen. We're not only a Church of God in Christ, but we're also a recovery program where we take in addicts that have went through the program of treatment, and then they come to Lake Ridge, where not only they receive housing, but they receive spiritual growth as well. And there's a lot here that came out of a homeless situation. They're now deacons in the church. They're now ministers in the church. They have their families back, their homes. God is truly blessing here. And it's good that our pastor had this vision to save those that we walk past in the street, the faceless people, the one we walk past, don't even want to look at them. But he had a heart to bring them in and to minister to them, to help them to find their needs, because we're all hurting some way or another. And all we need is some healing. That's it, just a little healing, a little love. If you care about me, I'll care about myself. But if you don't care about me, I'm not going to care about myself. That's the way people are thinking these days. No one cares, so why should they care? So let us care for those that we walk past every single day. Just because they have a problem, they are hurting. All they need is a band-aid, a hug, just someone to encourage them, tell them it's going to be all right. And just like me, I came from a homeless situation, strung out on the drugs for over 20 years. The Lord has truly blessed me and my wife. We came through the program under Pastor Eddie C. Williams, and we've been growing by leaps and bounds ever since, because someone said they love us. Amen? So I'd like to say welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Lake Ridge. Amen.
Elder Young. Oh, I'm sorry. So you got something to say. Give it up again for Lake Ridge Church for allowing us to be here. It's hard to find space, y'all. We're trying our best to move these meetings around for those. How many new people who's never been to a District 1 monthly meeting? Raise your hand. All right, see, there we go. All right, good to see you. Thanks for being here. So what we do is we move these meetings around to different locations every month because we want folks to know what's going on in all different parts of the district. So We were just down the street last month at Club Caribbean. Had a good time. So, going to get to the agenda, we have, when's the last time you guys been to Eliza Howe Park? When is the last time you've been to Eliza Howe Park?
Last week.
All right, so it's a lot of things going on over at Eliza Howe Park that you all don't know about. Actually, something going on today. We're going to bring up someone who's not a guest here. She's someone who's been here several times. Ms. Ryan Johnson. Give it up for her. She's the director and founder of Sidewalk Detroit. Okay, so now let me ask you this question. How many of you, every year we have this thing called Sidewalk Fest along Gloucester in the summertime on Neighborhood Day. How many of you experienced that? All right. So this is the young lady who came up with that concept, that idea. So you now have an opportunity to meet her, but she's doing something even bigger and better and expanding on that idea in District 1. Ryan, tell us about it.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Well, while Jill gets the slideshow going, I'm just really happy to be able to take a couple minutes just to tell you a little bit more about Sidewalk Detroit and some of the work we're doing at Eliza Howe Park. As you said, my name is Ryan Myers Johnson, and I'm a Detroit native. I grew up at Grand River and Asbury Park, just off the Southfield Freeway. And I come from a dance background. I saw that there's going to be an event at my old middle school, Ludington Middle School. So, but anyway, I found my kind of artistic self at Ludington, actually. And then I went into the dance department. Then I went on to Detroit School of Arts, and then I went on to University of Michigan to study dance on a dance scholarship, and that came through DPS and through Detroit. So I went to New York for a while and traveled abroad and just did a lot of things. And when I came back to Detroit around 2008, I was really excited to get involved with dance here and to get involved with the arts scene here, but there was a lot of talk about how, I don't know, that was around the recession, and so people were like really hating on Detroit. Why are you moving from New York? Why are you going to Detroit? Oh, it's so terrible. And so I'm like, what is a way that we can celebrate the magic, the beauty, and the culture of Detroit, the Detroit that I know and love? And so that's why I founded Sidewalk Festival. So we partnered with the Artist Village over in Grand River and Gloucester to bring artists to Gloucester to do dance, music, theater, film, all of that stuff. And so we've been doing this for the past 6 years. This year, August 3rd and 4th will be our 6th festival, so I hope you guys can come out for that. Woo, thank you. And so if you know of any artists, if you're an artist yourself and you want to get involved, please contact me. But anyway, what I'm really here to talk to you about today is a new project that we've been working on in Eliza Howe Park. So when Councilperson Tate asked about Eliza Howe Park, no one was hand went up. Well, I was kind of sad, but did you know that Eliza Howe Park, which is on Telegraph, just off of Telegraph and Finkel, is the 3rd largest park in Detroit? It's over 250 acres. The Rouge River runs through it. It's amazing and beautiful, and when I was living in Brightmoor, I lived right across the street from it. We would see deer and fox and all sorts of beautiful animals, but we noticed that there was no real infrastructure in the park other than things that neighbors and residents had sort of taken up the charge to create. Is this ready for me to Oh, well anyway, you can just click through the images since I've already did half the talk. Really, it's just images, so you can kind of see what we do. But anyway, Eliza Howe Park, as I was saying, so you can go past the festival. Okay, so you can stop right there. So this is an image of people on a nature walk on a bridge in Eliza Howe Park. So about 2 years ago, we started talking with people in Brightmoor, started talking to residents about the park. We had a community dinner, which we invited people out. We had about 200 people come out to tell us about the history of the park and what their experience was with it and what would they like to see happen in that park. What we heard from people, we also took some surveys. What we heard from people was that the biggest thing they wanted was infrastructure and a sense of safety. There was this idea that Eliza Howe Park was really dangerous, is empty. We don't want to be in there, you know, we could get hurt, that sort of thing. But then there was also this great memory that people had of times when there was horseback riding and jazz nights and activities for children. And then there's the people who have been really dedicated to the park for all these years despite not having a lot of infrastructure. So residents, groups, Reed and her family, people who have been doing work around creating pathways and trails and cleaning up the park, that sort of thing. I want to show you guys a slideshow view of it, so let me do this really quick. Maybe that will do it. Oops. Oh, no, there you go. Okay. So what we started to do was we applied for some grants to do research on how we could make some of these things happen. How can we bring back some basic infrastructure? So people wanted things like signs. For a long time, there was no sign to show you where Eliza Howell Park was. So we decided to do some research, as I said, to create a master plan for the park. What can we see, what can this park look like in 5 years with investment and with infrastructure? And so people said that, you know, they wanted to see those things like seating, benches, bathrooms, amenities for sports. And so a lot of that is beyond our scope, you know, as an arts presenting organization, but we did see that there are a lot of things we can do. And I went around and put flyers on all of your tables that show some of the things that we're doing this year in Eliza Howell Park. So there's a walking club that happens every Saturday, if it doesn't rain, where mostly women have been coming and walking through the park. On the 21st, we had a spring nature walk. You can come and learn about some of the animals. But one of the most exciting things we have going on right now is every Tuesday from 6 to 7:15 p.m. we have a Zumba night. It's free, it's outdoors, it's a ton of fun. It's taught by a master teacher in the community, Ivy Mitchell. Okay, I'm just gonna give up. Anyway, you have this flyer where you can see like some of our imagery. So every Tuesday you should come out. It's for all ages, all abilities. And then next Friday we have a jazz night, May 25th, from 7 to 9 p.m. With Sky Covington. And then on Thursday, starting up in June, we'll have African drum and dance classes. All of this stuff is free. It's made possible by a bunch of different grants that we applied for. I was surprised to see the Earth Foundation come through today, so many thanks to the Earth Foundation for giving funding towards that. And then Saturday, June 23rd, we have Storytelling Under the Stars. So that's an all-ages storytelling event. And then in the fall, we have a pretty big fall festival, which we had last year called Orange, Gold, and Green. We provide food, horseback riding, storytelling, art installations, all sorts of art programming for community members. And hopefully this year we'll be installing some more infrastructure around informational signage, seating, benches, and some protected growth areas. So all of this is happening in Eliza Howell Park, so I encourage you to go to sidewalkdetroit.com to learn more about our programs, take the flyer, come out, please tell people. We advertise really for this just, you know, within the community. So to have community participation, people coming out and just really getting involved in the park would be great. I think our phone number is on there and our email address, so if you have ideas, we also have a community leadership team. Right now it's a 10-person team of individuals that live kind of throughout District 1 that inform and advise us on, you know, what steps should we take next for Eliza Howell Park. And I'm giving the cutoff, so that's it, but please keep in contact with us and come out on Tuesday to Zumba or to Jazz Night.
All right.
Thank you.
Ryan Johnson, any questions real quick before? All right, no questions. All right, great job. Great job. We'll see you. We'll certainly see you there. Coming up next, another community partner that we work with, certainly not a, this is family as well in District 1. It's Reed Schumack. Give it up for Reed. And Reed's going to talk to you about another strong time. Tommy, what's your last name? Obioha. Tommy Obioha, also D1 resident. All right? So these folks today are here to talk about the City of Detroit's new Office of Sustainability. So how many of you even knew that we had an Office of Sustainability? All right, many people in the room, so now you have a captive audience. All right, so we're going to give you this mic. I know we're going to have some questions after.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So, the word sustainable is a very kind of roomy, ethereal word, right? Everybody has a different understanding, maybe, of what that word even means. The fact that, we have an Office of Sustainability is really exciting to me because I love fresh air and I love green and I love parks and I love animals and I love farming, all that stuff. That's what sustainability means to me. But sustainability may mean something completely different to each one of you. Sustainability might mean having water next month, right? Because you can't pay your water bill. Or like the people in Flint, sustainability might mean having no lead in your water. Sustainability might mean being able to sustain a job, keeping a job, because there's public transportation. You can get to your job. So sustainability means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And a lot of other cities, the Office of Sustainability might be called the Environmental Office or the Climate Action Office. But in Detroit, we especially use the word sustainable to be inclusive of what it may mean to a lot of different people. So Tommy and I are the ambassadors of the Office of Sustainability for District 1. We are residents of District 1, and we have been chosen to represent the Office of Sustainability and make this known to the community. Reggie, what do you know, I really don't need this even because I've got a really loud voice. So anyway, on your table there are surveys, and it says Sustainable Survey of Detroiters, and I'm going to let Tommy explain the whole process of the office.
Okay, so what's going on is we're approaching this in a three-phase way. So the first section is going to be, the first phase is going to be where we reach out to you via surveys. We want to know what you guys want to prioritize in your neighborhoods, the challenges in your neighborhoods, and we're going to compile that data, and then we're going to turn it into forums and discussions, town halls, kind of dive deep into that information, and then compile all of that feedback, and then form what we're calling a sustainability action agenda. So an actionable plan forward for the city. And this is going to be community driven, so we want to promote as many conversations as we can as ambassadors. There are 14 ambassadors, 2 for each district. We're the District 1 ambassadors. So what we'd like to do is also give you a website, and I'll give you some time to gather some pins. Yeah. I'll give you some time to gather some pins. Take this link down for me. Okay, it's courb, courb.co/Detroit. And this is where we'd like you to sign on and really tell us what spaces you enjoy in your neighborhood or what challenges you have in your neighborhood, and really, really, let us know what's going on. It's courb.co/Detroit. courb.co/Detroit. Sorry, /Detroit. Sorry about that.
Okay.
courb .co, C-O. Yeah.
Can you do it start over? Just start from the beginning to the end at one time.
Yep. courb.co/Detroit. courb.co/Detroit.
Is this survey available online?
Yes, the survey is available online.
So here's the deal, guys. So this exact survey is online. You can do it online, but I just don't want you to go home and say, oh, I'll do it online, and then you're not going to do it. So if you can, there are physical surveys for everybody. So if you think you might forget to go home and do it online, do it now on the physical survey. All right?
Any other questions? Reggie, you gotta turn this mic. And let me let you know, folks, when you talk, it's an echo, it's a reverb in the room, so we really can hear you. So we keep the conversations to a minimum and keep them low.
My question is, where do we go for that online for the survey?
So if you Google Office of Sustainability, City of Detroit, there's a button there where you can put your input in, that's the survey. There's another button for the co-orb. There's another button for the co-orb thing. The co-orb is kind of like a social media platform. It brings up this map, and you can put yourself on the map, and then you can say, you know, I really like all the vegetable gardens in my neighborhood. Or there's another option, I would like to see improvement by, you know, having more bus stops or whatever it is. So it's kind of a fun way. You can also see people all over the city. You just click on their locations and you can see people all over the city reacting to what their idea of sustainability is. So there's really two ways to do this. There's three ways. Physically, right now, or go to the Office of Sustainability website and fill in the online survey. And if you like that kind of stuff, go on co-orb and get involved. That's an ongoing thing. So, you know, it's like Facebook. You can go on it every day or whatever and interact with other folks. Does that make it clear?
Any other questions for Reed and Tommy? All right, give it up for Reed and Tommy. Office of Sustainability, City of Detroit. We also would like to acknowledge some of our other partners. Yelena Brown, you're representing Commissioner Reggie Reyes. You have anything you want to say to folks real quick? Are you good? All right. Here. And our other partner, our D1 District Manager, Stephanie Young. Y'all give it up for Stephanie Young. Stephanie Young, want to say anything? Did I see the trees in here?
It's a good day today, isn't it? Where is she?
Come on up.
All right, thank you so much, my councilman. I love saying that. We all know we're not just number one for no reason. We have the best city council person in the city of Detroit. Is that correct? Every single meeting, there are people who sneak in from the other districts, right? They're like, you know, our person is nice, but we heard it was going on over here in District 1. So, to that, I just want to first off say thank you for Tommy for wearing the Motor City Makeover shirt. We had an excellent time during our week, so thank you to all of you who participated. All the better. But just know this, Motor City Makeover is every day in our community. When you care about where you live, you're helping to make a difference every single day. Now, I also want to be certain that you all have met, and if you haven't, you will today, but this is our newest addition to the Don team, and that's Latrice McClendon. She is the new deputy manager. She's a resident of Rosedale Park, a wife and mother of 3 lovely children, a business owner. She is a great asset to the team. Now, lastly, this is what I want to ask you guys about. If you came in, if you didn't get this, we'll get one to you. But the mayor has tapped me as a district manager to help out on things with education. folks know, I'm the lead manager for education within the city Department of Neighborhoods. And to that, we're working with both DPS and the charter schools for a task that I call low-hanging fruit. How many of you all know that 30,000 young Detroiters leave Detroit every day to go to schools outside the city of Detroit? It's unbelievable. Now, I get that for those that may be going to private schools and all of that, but some are going to school districts that are at par or below par. And one of the reasons that we found out, actually two reasons. One is because that school offered transportation, and two, because that school offered free latchkey or free after-school programs. So the mayor got together with both DPSCD and the charter schools, and he said, millions of dollars are leaving our schools. We've got to come together and work together to keep Detroit kids in Detroit. So to that, we're offering up a pilot program that's going to allow children to have free transportation in the morning and the evening and free after-school programs. The school board for DPSCD meets this Tuesday. We're just encouraging you all to sign a letter of support saying, hey, look, this is an easy one, gang. Who doesn't want kids to be able to get to school safely and to go to a quality after-school program? I was just talking to a resident who said, we know what happened when schools stopped providing after-school programs. The increase in teenage pregnancy happened. The increase in the dropout rate happened. And so we're trying to stop those things. So who does not have the letter? Because you're the ones we need to see, so that we can be servant collected before we leave here today to let the board know that we got their back. They'll be doing the right thing in supporting this initiative. So that's about it. District manager, we're all things about blight, cleaning up our neighborhood. You all can find me anytime. If there's anybody who doesn't know how to reach me, I'll give you my phone number. Are you ready? 313-236-3473. And then I have a better telephone number. This is the best number. This is the one y'all need to lock in. That would be Latrice McClendon. Latrice McClendon. Her telephone number is 236-3484. All right, thank you all for your time. Any quick questions? Because you know we have a jam-packed agenda every single Saturday.
This may not be the purview of what you're trying to do, but is there some way that you can address making available adult education so people can transition from high school who don't have college funds or what have you? There's some sort of trade school, some sort of marketable skill that can put them in a position to contribute to society or contribute tax base to the district or to the city overall.
Perfect question. So yes, you all may have heard about the training program that we have at Randolph. One of the things we're doing, we have the young people there during the day, but just like what you said, we figured out adult education is just as key. And so in the evening, we're running training programs. We're training up the adults to be able to get those jobs and skilled trades. Every day, there are companies looking in Detroit for buildings to open up new industry, and they've got to be trained. And so we're doing that. We're helping to meet that need right there at Randolph. We start with our young people, and then we transition over to the adults. Great question. Okay. Well, all right, gang. Bless you all. Have a great weekend.
Stephanie Young, ladies and gentlemen, District Manager. All right, so I wanted to give you a heads up about one of the things that we're doing with the District 1 monthly meeting. So we have the August primary. How many months coming out? 3 months? 3 months. All right, so we got 3 months. We have invited all of the gubernatorial candidates to come and present to District 1 residents at our District 1 monthly meetings. So far, we have gotten some commitments, but we have not gotten enough commitments. So if you have any of your candidates that you are affiliated with, that you know of, any that you would like to see, that you're curious about, call them and encourage them to sign up to appear here before all of you at the next District 1 monthly meeting. Okay? We're doing it for June. We're doing it for July as well. Yep. So make sure you get the word out. Coming up next. So every day or every other day, very often. I pass by the intersection of Puritan and Southfield, northbound Southfield. And I see this lady there, and whether it's snow outside or it's rain outside, no matter what the weather conditions are, she's always there with her vehicle, watching the kids as they go by. Many of us don't really think about crossing guards unless we are either one or we need one for our children. But these are individuals who are really heroes, the eyes and ears in our communities. They see our children, not just in the traffic situation, but also other potential hazardous and dangerous situations out there in our community. So I thought it was important for us to do what we can to let them know that we appreciate the work that they do within District 1. And so we have with us today a few of them. But first we'd like to bring forward Officer Robin Hill and Officer Nick Whitaker. They're with DPD. We got a lot on DPD. Got a lot on DPD. And they're going to give you a little information about the crossing guards. Stop. We need that on a whole lot of streets in the neighborhood, for real. So we need some of these crossing guards. So we have some of our guards here. I believe we have Ms. Frankie Jones. Ms. Frankie Jones? Okay, you know what? You guys stay back there first, and then we're going to let them present, and then we're going to call you up, okay? All right. Awesome.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you all, Councilman Tate, for having us here. First of all, I would like to say thank God for every one of you here. We appreciate you all. Our crossing guards are a wonderful group of young men and women. I'm going to call you all young, to be honest. Okay? They are wonderful. They work part-time. We have some that volunteer, some that get paid. Okay, they get what we call a stipend, right? It's a stipend. Okay.
Small stuff.
Yeah. We appreciate the parents that's driving the kids to and from school, being safe around the children. We have a lot of issues around the schools where we get calls where the speeding, parents dropping kids off and just let them run across the street. Some kids, we have young babies walking to school by themselves. Kindergartens are being let out the front door to walk to school. So we would appreciate all of you all being our eyes and ears for the children in the morning. If any of you are retired at home, if you're up early enough, don't be surprised you see these kids walking to school alone. We're out there patrolling as early as 6 in the morning. And I picked up a little girl. She was in kindergarten. Said she was going to meet some of her friends. And my partner stopped her. Where's your mother? Where's your father? We always say, where's your mother? Everybody first thing when they say, where's the mother? We forget there is two parents. Okay, where's your mother? Oh, she's asleep. Yes. I picked the little girl up. She didn't even know her address. She could direct me to her house. She knew what house she lived in, but didn't know the address. So we took her back to her home. Okay, knocked on the door. Her mother came to the door. And I asked her, where's your child? Do you have a child walking to school? She says yes, but she's going to meet with some friends. So your daughter's in the kindergarten. What happens to the kindergartners? Parents take them to sign them in school. They don't require that anymore. They don't require that. So this little girl was walking down the street to meet some friends. We never met up with those friends. So anybody can snatch this innocent baby, but she's still a baby at 5. So this is one of the reasons we need you all as eyes and ears for our children. They are our future here in the city. We explained to the little girl that she was not in trouble. We were just going to talk to her parent. It's about her getting up to take her to school. Really. The mother told me at some point she has to learn. If you don't teach this child at 5 years old that she needs to learn to walk to school by herself. Especially not during this time. It's too dangerous. So we appreciate you all just looking out for the kids. And just keeping your lights on. They're out there early. Some schools start at 8:45. They're starting later now because it's still the time change. I know how the time changes. But thanks a lot for everything and for watching out for our children. We're going to talk about our traffic safety officers. Officer Whitaker.
I do all the hiring. Anyone out there interested in becoming a crossing guard, I'm the one who does all the hiring. So if you could please take our phone number down. It's 313-596. I'm not as 596-1457. Call me anytime. I work Monday through Friday, 6 to whenever. Yeah.
What's your name?
Officer Nick Whitaker. Handsomest guy in the police department.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta ask.
And the most modest one, right?
So it's an application process. I will train you. I'll get you through the screening process. It's very simple. We'll get you out there for the next school year if you're interested in that. If you're not interested, pass the information on to somebody else. They can call my office anytime. The pay is equivalent, I like to tell everybody, because it's kind of broken down a little funny. It's about $20 a day, which is actually pretty decent because you're looking at about 90 minutes of work. Because you're working a split day, you got to be there in the morning and in the afternoon for the kids. So it's ideal for seniors and people who live near the school.
What's your number again?
596-1457.
I have a question over here.
Yes.
Since you mentioned seniors and youths, is
Yes.
there an age requirement?
18 is for us to get the job?
Right, 18.
Yes, 18 years old until, unfortunately, our oldest guard passed last year. She had 56 years of service. She was 97 years old.
You're senior, but I know you can get out there. Come on. Any other questions? Zane, you have a question? Oh, you have one.
I have a question. In some of the suburban communities, when the school bus goes down and they put out those stop signs, traffic on both sides of the street has to stop. Is that also the law in Detroit? And is it, you know, what's up with that? And when the crossing guard is helping children across the street, I think about it from Grand River, when they're helping the children across the street going to Edison, cars on the other side are flying by. What does the law say about that?
The law says exactly how you described out in the suburbs or anywhere else. The state of Michigan law states they are to stop for both sides of that stop for that school bus. However, as we all know, people are in a hurry in the morning. Even the parents of the children are in a hurry in the morning, and they blow around those school buses. So what myself, Officer Hill, and a number of other officers attempt to do is we're spread a little bit thin, as you know. But when it's become a major problem at a certain school, usually we're notified by the principal, and we'll come out there along with our traffic enforcement unit and kind of nip that in the bud, at least for that day. And that usually sends a message out to the people that are doing it, at least in front of the school, we need to cool out for a little while. We also, when they see the crossing guards out there, they know they're a representative of the police department, who can also tell us when that's going on a daily basis at a certain location.
So now I'm real serious about this crossing guard thing. So, what is the time commitment for someone? So let's say someone has a job where they're off Tuesdays and Thursdays. You know, that's the only days that they can do it. Would that satisfy what you're looking for, or do they get canceled out because they can't do all 5 days or more than 2 days a week?
That's a case-to-case basis. We have a couple of crossing guards that do it just like that. I would have to see their schedule and analyze each individual on, you know, if you're going to do that, you know, I'm going to need 100% attendance on those 3 days that you're going to be available. I can't have you know, if you have an important job, I understand that and other obligations, but we're going to need to work some kind of way because the state of Michigan also dictates if a crossing guard calls in or can't make it for the day, an officer has to handle it. We only have so many officers to be able to do that. Her and I do multiple ones every day. And we can, again, only be at one place at one time.
So I just wanted to emphasize that because some of you have jobs that pull you away and you're not able to do this, but there may be an opportunity still for you to be, again, the eyes and ears for our kids out there in the community. Now, Officer Whitaker, Officer Hill, we've got some of our crossing guards with us today. If you can introduce them, please.
Yes. Can you all please stand up, our crossing guards, please? We have Mr. Kenneth Davis. All right, come on up, Grandma. Come on up.
Miss Frankie Elaine Jones. Miss Dolores Green. Miss Darnell Buford. And Miss Heather Seabrooks. Oh, and a sneak up by Madeline Johnson.
So if anybody would like to just talk a little bit about why you decided to do this? I mean, what are words that you can give the folks out here? We're trying to encourage to be one of you. What are those words that you can give that will make that impact? I think you got one, right? Oh, give me more than one.
Yes, my name is Kenneth Davis, and this is my 27th year as a crossing guard. Thank you. And the reason I became a crossing guard is because I was always a community-oriented person, and actually I lived in Herman Garden Projects, so I grew up there, and some of the people that ran the organizations there, they recruited me because I did a lot for the youth out there. I ran the summer youth program. And so they just asked me and said, would you like to be a crossing guard? So I love kids. I like being around kids. I have a passion for that because kids are innocent and they don't know anything about racism. They don't know anything about hatred. So that gave me the opportunity to be in their lives and teach them, you know what I mean? And I've raised a lot of kids. I mean, I've seen them since they were like in preschool, and actually these kids are grown. They graduated. They're managers. A lot of them are entrepreneurs, and they come back and they say, Mr. Davis, man, how are you doing? It's so good to see you. And I'm just so enlightened when because I know that I've been a part of their lives. You may not think it. Every little thing that that we take for granted and we think that kids don't remember that, they remember it. Okay, they remember a lot of good. Okay, now if I was one of those guys drunk and then that's a bad image. I don't drink. I never got high. And I don't do all of that. Okay, so because I want to be a good image, I want kids to see it's not good to be drunk and drinking, smoking weed. All that stuff is not good. Be sober, be smart, think. Always have your thinking process together at all time. God says that. So, so I encourage anybody that want to have an impact on their neighborhood and their community, start as a crossing guard because you see a lot of kids. And when you see these kids, give you a chance to change their lives and put something positive in their lives. I talk to them every day, and so and the pay is good too. I got to mention that. And, a lot of people say they say, "Hey man, you doing this as volunteer?" I said, "No, it ain't volunteer." I mean, but I have a passion for it because I like the kids, but the pay is really good. So I encourage you all. I'm over there. Asbury Park Retirement, stop by and wave at us and say, you're doing a good job. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Crossing guards also have a lot to say. I've been a crossing guard since 1988. It gave me the opportunity to follow my child from school from elementary all the way University of Detroit, which he graduated. All right. And so he was an architect, and I was able to keep up with him because of being a crossing guard and working at the school. I am a crossing guard on the Grand River and Biltmore. I'm there every day. And we have a problem. Just as you said, people going through the light in a hurry, just people letting children out in the middle of the street. I think one day a city council person, like 2 years ago, saw that and called the school or either traffic enforcement or whatever. And for that year, we had somebody there to write tickets, go through that light with them, and, you know, do whatever their job was to do. It's rewarding to me, especially this month, because I saw how this job affected my children. I got 2 college graduates. I have a home. I have respect for my community. They know this job. Oh, this job, like you said, kids come back and be, you know, entrepreneurs or whatever. So think about it and come out and help your community. Thank you.
I think you all missed the clap cue. She said she's been doing it since 1998. So that's a clap. That's a clap cue. That's all there's some folks in my staff been doing. Yes, sir. That one right here.
Yeah, so yeah, I've concluded the rest of the crossing guards, including my sister, who's been up there 28 years on Pembroke, which is a dangerous intersection.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'll be driving there, and I don't jog there no more. I go the other way. And seriously, the gentleman in the white shirt, could you answer a question for me? What is your take on these young parents dropping the kids off with that loud, disrespectful, profanity rap music, and the kids grow up having that in there and they be reciting it after school, and they don't know what the lyrics mean. Now, what are we going to do about that?
That's a whole nother form right there.
Well, you know it's a good answer to that. And, you know, when I first started, I used to become combative when I saw a lot of, you know, parents and what they were doing to their kids and, you know, doing a lot of things like that. But what I've learned is that if you be cordial to them and respect what they do, okay, they blast the music, but when you challenge them, that's when it becomes a problem. You know,
I'm sorry, in an intelligent way. In my neighborhood, I'm still living, so
okay.
I better they respect the old year 71.
Okay.
I'm not the typical 71-year-old.
Right. So in that sense, what I've learned to do is not, you know, when they pull up, what I do is I'm cordial to their child. So when they see that, they say, okay, well, this gentleman is nice to my son or daughter, and he shows respect. So if I might say, hey, can you kind of tone it down? He said, okay, yeah, I'm good with that. I can do that. Because they see that you're respecting them and you're trying to, you know what I'm saying, be cordial to them. Not trying to, hey, dude, turn that down, man. Come on, dude. That's wrong. When you go that way, then you only engage yourself into that type of hostility. You know, when you see it, you know, you got, and you know, a lot of us are godly, you know, people, you know, it comes, you know, that God thing come in, and you say, hey, you be respectful to the child, then they'll see that, okay, somebody's showing respect to my child, so I'm going to show respect to them.
That's right. Whether you're a crossing guard or you're a neighbor, sometimes we approach our neighbors a certain kind of way because they come at us a certain kind of way. It's what do they say, iron sharpens iron, but sometimes fire, you put more gas in that fire, it's going to blaze even higher. So we got to make sure we don't do that. So before we wrap up, I would like to know where you guys serve. Where are the locations where your crossing locations are in the district?
Grand River and Biltmore.
Grand River and Biltmore. Anybody near that area? All right, cool. If you see it, raise your hand if it's near your area.
I'm Asbury Park in Tyron by the old Herman Garden projects. Right there, the old Herman School. Yep, that's where I'm at. Come on, see me.
You got something to say?
I'm at Greenville and Pembroke by Elementary.
All right.
Good morning. I am at Charles Wright School, 7 Mile and Burke, and also at Pasteur Elementary, Santa Rosa and Pembroke. myself and Ms. Buford, we both do both of those schools.
All right. Well, we want to thank you all.
Misty, bro,
The young gun.
At Dr. Weber on Fireman and Beechwood, and my other crossing is at Linwood and Burlingame for Third Elementary School.
I want to let you all know, you don't have NPOs, neighborhood police officers.
Yeah.
You don't have any issues? Call your precinct. Now, I see some of them standing in the back, right?
Y'all do it for the NPO. Y'all stand up.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Absolutely.
So, ask a question.
Can you pick the location you want to serve, closer to your home?
Absolutely. That's the ideal job to have, is the closest possible place to your home. Limit the commute, limit any lateness or anything like that. We'll absolutely look at it.
So we want to thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. We got Spirit of Detroit Awards, because I think we should do more than recognize y'all, because this is more of the spirit of what Detroit really is. We have folks who on a regular basis do volunteerism, do the work, and don't get recognized. We have some new folks that joined us today, so we don't have awards for everyone that's here. So we won't, matter of fact, I don't think we only have one. Right? Frankie Jones. Give it up, Frankie Jones. All right. Hold on, say the name.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kenneth Davis. Right?
Kenneth Davis. Kenneth Davis. Y'all give it up for Kenneth Davis. And who else do we have again? Let's say your name one more time. Now give it up. They got a platform. They got an award. Platform like this. Heather Seagram. Everybody got an award. And Madeline Johnson. Madeline Johnson. And Dolores Green and one. Yes, Brown. So if you don't mind, if we can take a photo. Does this count for hours? All right, this counts for hours.
All right. Do it all the time. Come on.
All right, you guys, bring it a little closer. There you go, right there. Still. You might want to step around in front of them. There you go, right there. Perfect. Just one time, everybody, look this way, please. Smile. And everybody is able to right now. One finger, just one. One. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right.
So coming up next, was that pretty cool? It was a little different, right? All right, coming up next. 1 minute, y'all. 1 minute. If I can hear you, then you can hear me. All right. So coming up next, we have, so you'll see on most of the folks on my team, the shirts, the Discover D1. How many of you are familiar with the Discover D1 program? Initiative? Never heard of it? Well, you're in luck today. I know. So we have Discover D1, and that is our small business initiative where we are looking to support the small businesses located within District 1. So many times, and I'm giving this spiel again, but many times we talk about all the stuff that's happening in downtown, midtown, Corktown, all these different towns, but nothing happening in our neighborhood. There's a lot happening in our neighborhood. We've got to take advantage of what's already there in order to strengthen those businesses and those business owners who many times live in our neighborhood. And we have one of those business owners with us today, Dr. have Chef Mushia Glenn. Raise your hand. Chef Mushia. And she owns 2 locations. If y'all haven't been to Pasta Bowl and It's a Wrap, how many of you been to It's a Wrap? All right. So now we're about to introduce. Pasta Bowl, raise your hand. Okay, Pasta Bowl, we've been around a little bit longer. So we're going to, Reggie, are you ready for the video? All right, so we're going to talk to you a little bit. And you also you want to resident too, right? Live in the neighborhood. So tell us a little bit about why you chose District 1 for your business. And how did you decide to be a chef as well? You just take whichever one. Why did you decide to be a chef, and why did you decide to choose your location in District 1?
Well, I decided to be a chef because my brother was a cook.
Oh, you might go?
Can you hear me? Okay, so I decided to become a chef as a kid. Growing up, I had to learn how to cook because my brother was not a good cook. So I had to figure out how to cook. And I fell in love with food. I fell in love with flavor. Growing up, I would go out to the suburban areas and see that they have a wide variety of food, different choices, different restaurants. But you come back in the local neighborhoods, and we were very limited. You had access to Coney Island, you know, your basic franchise, McDonald's and things like that. We all know that they're not healthy choices. So after studying culinary and learning about the different, flavors and vegetables and stuff like that, I decided to create a concept and bring it to my community. I decided to go in District 1 because I was inside of District 1. It's a very, 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 very nice area. It's a growing area, and it needed it. It was just my community needed it.
So talk to us about your 2 locations. So talk to us about
I'm sorry, Sue, for the mic thing.
No, that's not you. This is the D1 thing.
Okay.
So, those are the locations. Where are you located?
Okay, so Pasta Bowl is located at 17301 West Nichols on the corner of Lindsay Street. Between Greenville and Southfield Road. Pasta It's a Wrap is located at 17400 Grand River on the corner of Lindsay Street. The old Reed's Texan thing.
Yeah, we're Reed's.
Yeah.
So let's tell us a little bit about the menu.
Okay, it's all fresh.
So talk to us about what's on the menu.
Okay, so Pasta Bowl for pasta. Okay, so all of our sauces are made in-house. We use fresh produce. You can get your pasta topped with almost anything you like. Shrimp, crab, lobster. Our lamb chops are becoming crazy. I put lamb chops on the menu and I had no idea that people was going to receive it. I'm buying some of these lamb chops. The butcher is like, okay, you calling me a freaking idiot to try to get my order. It's a Wrap is my version of a shawarma, but with better flavor to me and better quality meats.
So what about us folks who may be vegetarian or vegan? What about those folks who do something?
So we have vegetarian, the salad. So my salads are, I cook it.
I think we have a customer.
Make our salads very hearty and nutritious because we use green leaf lettuce, which is a very good quality lettuce. It doesn't hold a lot of water. It has good flavor, nice bite to it. You can top your salad with anything you like. If you want to go all veggies, you can. If you want to get, we have a steak salad, we have a corned beef salad, we offer different cheeses. I'm bringing a culinary experience to the neighborhood so that you don't have to travel downtown, you don't have to travel to the suburban areas, you can go around the corner and at an affordable rate. You being a single parent, I know the struggles of trying to feed your kids healthy, not having enough time during the day, but not spending a lot of money, you know. I mean, I come from that, I am that, you know, so I just created something that I knew would benefit me as well as the people.
And you've been featured on Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 7, everybody, you've been in magazines.
Yes.
How is that to come up, how does it feel to come up with a concept in your head and then now seeing where you are with folks talking about you. You got a loyal customer up front.
She just made my day.
Yeah. How does that feel as
I
a
mean,
business?
it's breathtaking. It brings tears to my eyes.
That's what we're looking for.
You know, I mean, I just did something I love, you know, and supporting the people has honestly been overwhelming, and I'm truly grateful. I mean, I didn't have a big bank backing me. I had an idea and my life savings. And I put it out here, and I gave it to God, and He gave it back to me. Yeah. You know.
He's crossing his fingers.
Me and Reginald was working back and forth on this thing.
So have you seen it yet?
No.
Okay, so this will be your first time as well.
I always loved food as a little girl. As I got older, of course, it became more interesting, watching the Food Network, seeing the different chefs, and I wanted to go to school and further my knowledge in culinary and safety and sanitation for food preparation. What made it a full-blown deal for me is the reaction that I used to get from my family members and friends when I would cook. I did a scan of the inner city of what the options were that the neighborhoods had to offer. We had nothing but Coney Island's, McDonald's, White Castle's, Taco Bell, processed junk. I decided to go with pasta because pasta is filling, it's affordable, it's nutritious, and I did a twist to it by adding my own spin with the toppings that we add to the pasta. And so that's why I chose pasta for the first one. It's a wrap. This is my second project that we're doing. It's been over a year, and I did wraps because it was nothing in the area accessible, and I wanted to add more flavor to the wraps. When I bought my home, which is in the area, the building had been vacant for years, and I wanted that building. I visualized myself working out of that building. And the opportunity presented itself in 2015 where I was able to get the building, and that's when we put Pasta Bowl there. What can I say? I absolutely love District 1. I come from District 1. I grew up in this area. And when the opportunity presented itself for me to open my business, there was no other place that I would go but this area. The success of the business so far, Pasta Bowl is working her birthday, and I refer to Pasta Bowl as her because that's my baby. It's June 3rd, she'll be 3.
I don't call it fast food, I call it fresh food. Pasta Bowl piles plates with freshness. The doors opened a few months ago on West McNichols near the Southfield Freeway in Northwest Detroit. Nobody is doing what they're doing at this pasta place.
Number one seller is The Woods. It's a sequel over love, and that's with shrimp, scallops, crab, sauteed spinach, a bit of angel hair pasta with Alfredo sauce.
Pasta Bowl proteins cover a wide range, all the sauteed seafood and grilled goodness, fresh and unique. Like this one, large and in charge.
And it's called the Boss Man Platter, and it has like lamb chops, lobster, sauteed peppers, spinach. It's crazy.
Crazy in that great kind of way.
It's a wrap time 1 on Valentine's Day of this year.
If you're looking for something fast and fresh, we have your savory solution. What more can I say? It's a wrap.
There'll be a quick lunch when you don't feel overfull and overstuffed, and everything is guaranteed fresh.
The produce and protein.
Salads, wraps, pita
Pockets, pitas, so it will be very affordable. All locally sourced from Eastern Market, served fresh here near Grand River and the Southfield Freeway at It's Wrap and More. Chicken and waffle wrap, and it has bacon, shredded cheese, powdered sugar, and then you have a chipotle mayo syrup on there. Or you can wrap your mouth around a shrimp and spinach wrap. It has shrimp, red onions, tomatoes, fresh spinach, and then it has like a garlic aioli on it. You'll find the same fresh and creative twist on the docket in co-owner Tiffany Williams' Pita Pocket. Philly cheesesteak, it has steak, tri-colored peppers, fresh onions, little cheese, and then we have our A1 aioli in the Pita Pocket. Salmon with your fresh bed of greens underneath it, like fresh healthy.
What puts us in a different bracket from everyone else is that we are about freshness and quality at affordable rate. We create gourmet dishes, but home-style gourmet dishes. Definitely educate yourself. I definitely, my advice is to definitely, knowledge is power. And how we have succeeded is myself and my entire team. We all met in culinary school. We're all college graduates with our degrees in culinary and hospitality. It definitely helped me along this path as far as the do's and the don'ts and the right way to do things.
Y'all give it up for Chef Lucia.
I just want to tell everybody thank you. I just want to especially say thank you to my family, my two boys. They rode this roller coaster with me for years. And my children truly are my inspiration in cooking. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you for receiving. Thank you. What's your name?
Oh, question.
Yeah. No, you're carry out. Both carry out. Yep.
Any other questions?
But we do all the papers.
All right. Well, thank you again for being here, and wish you all the best. We're going to work with you. Now give it up, Chef Lucia. All right, coming up next is the part of the D1 meeting that I love. When we get an opportunity to highlight, showcase, and love on our young people. We have today with us the team from Cornerstone Health and Technology High School. Okay. They're ready to rock and roll already? We'll bring it on in. Y'all give it up for them. These are the Robo-Wolves. And they built a robot, and this robot is designed to do a couple of different things. Instead of me talking about it, I want you guys to tell us a little bit about your robot. Anybody who's going to? Okay. Everything nowadays is being robotic. Turn the TV on, turn the thermostat. So, who's the spokesperson? Would like to tell us a little bit about this?
Okay, so this is the robot we built. For the competition, what we had to do was build a robot that can place cubes in a series of scales. So it can't lift right now, but that's what it's supposed to do. It scissors. It lifts slightly, and then the arms here are to extend. They extend. And then you can open and close the arms and place the cubes on the table. And this is our driver, so you know it can
coming to get you, Reggie. Run.
Okay, so we started back in, I say, January. First we had to know what the competition was about to be about, so I just told that. And then we had to come up with a design. So me and the rest of the members of the team, we came up with this design to try to reach our goal. Then we had to go out and make sure we had all the parts and all the tools how we needed to put it together. It was a lengthy process, but overall, it was quite enjoyable. It was many trials, many failures, but eventually we ended up reaching where we wanted with our robot, and we went to the competitions, we enjoyed ourselves, we met other teams, we learned about their robots, and we talked about what our robot could do. Hand it off to India.
Hi everyone, my name is India Yoder, and I'm currently a senior at Cornerstone Health and Technology High School. I have a GPA a cumulative GPA of 3.2. I plan on attending. I also plan on attending Michigan State University. I have a full ride there. So what drew me to robotics was, well, it taught me to get out of my comfort zone, but also leadership skills as well. I was on the marketing team and I helped create these shirts and just getting our team the finance as well. And you know, it's really been a fun experience. I've been in robotics for the past 4 years. So I just really learned how to really just get out of my comfort zone and just try new things.
Great job.
You gotta say a couple words. It's your turn.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh goodness, I did not know that I was going to get emotional. India will be believing. I'm Sharice Donaldson with Cornerstone Health and Technology. I am the robotics coach. Oh goodness. This is really touching. India, Earl, Tracy, Darnell, and there's a few more in the back. Would you all come out, please? And I know the names that I'm mentioning are Earl, India, Tracy, Darnell, and Justin. They're all my seniors, and they are leaving, and I just realized that. And I'm saying to myself, oh boy, what am I doing now? Well, robotics was not something that I chose to do. I was almost forced in a position. In the kids, I am the most important part of Cornerstone's morning, afternoon, and after school. I am the lunch aide. I didn't know that my part at school would be so vital, you know, and my pay is really, really good. I supervise 4 ladies, a lunch aide, supervisor, wow. But anyway, these kids, they are brilliant. They are really brilliant. There's not one part of me in that robot other than through them. They built this robot with their hard work and sweat and getting mad at one another and walking out and all of that. But we did the best we could with what we had with our robot this year. No. We didn't make it as far as we wanted to, but we got as far as our money would take us. So just to really tell you a little bit about robotics itself. We are one of the 508 schools in the state of Michigan. We are the biggest robotics team in the United States, our state, Michigan. One of our schools, which can look it up on First Robotics online. But Michigan won the competition this year. They enjoyed us, and the kids from all these other states that came enjoyed robotics so well that Cobo Hall will be hosting robotics for the next 2 years. And it's getting so great that we're having teams come in. We got to pick up our game now. They're coming in from Japan and China. And you know, that tells me something. That we got to get it together. You know, we got to really do something because those are some really brilliant minds over there. And not to say that we don't have it. We just need to put more into our children so they can put more into what they love. Most of the children here, it's really 15, I believe, on the team. And 90% of them are either going into engineering, some kind, electrical, mechanical, audio, and the business side of it. We're really growing. Hopefully, it will keep getting sponsored. We do have a sponsor that picked us up, and they really treated us real well. We're their 19th sponsee, and that is the Michigan Engineering Zone of U of M. That was a true blessing.
So let me ask you this. What can these folks do to support you? That's the main thing. You talked about the fact that you went as far as your money could take you. What are some of the things that the people, look, you got a captive audience that here to support you. These folks in the neighborhood.
There's a lot of things that we need to go further. We need sponsorship. You know, the state of Michigan only gives out so much money. And as long as the further we stay into robotics, the less money we get. Rookies get money, but we're our 3rd year. This will be our 4th year coming. Our funds dropped from $10,000 down to $3,000.
So tell us how to get in touch. Give us now's the time.
Okay.
Come on now.
I'll give you some information. You can contact Cornerstone Health and Technology High School at 313-486-4280.
What was that number again?
313-486-4280. And I'm going to give you an even better number. Mine, Sharice Donovan, at 313-510-8781.
All right. Shuri, I'm sorry. What's your last name?
Don is D-O-N-E-L, Donelson, S-O-N.
All right, so we got a few questions here.
First of all, I applaud your team because I've seen some of those competitions, and it's not a very diverse population there, and for you to go and do well, that says a lot. But what I want to ask the kids, what is your name, honey? I'm sorry. My question is for you. Now that you're leaving, what would you think if you could just leave and give them anything that you think they needed to be successful moving on? What would that be?
Your teammates.
I mean, you know, I'm not talking about, be specific. Sometimes you say you have not because you ask not. Right.
Okay, I would say really stick to it. It's really about commitment, and you want to put in the hours to really build that robot. It takes a long, long time to build it. Also, we just need more resources. Other schools, they have a lot. They've been there robotics for like over 12 years. Like money. To be able to build the robot, have more, to put more into it. You know, that's pretty much it.
How much does it cost to build a robot?
Well, the way it works is that First in Michigan gives us, we pay $5,000 for a kit. That kit includes 2 competitions. But there is more to buy other than what's in that kit, of course. This year we made it out safe, right? Just barely, we made it. But there's more things. We see other robots at the competition, and they just talk, they go all the way up, and it light up, it has neon lights. And, well, we don't have enough money to buy all that extra stuff because still we need sponsors for T-shirts, our jackets. We need sponsorship for those things. T-shirts, our jackets. We wanted to get warm-up suits this year. We couldn't afford it because these competitions happen in the winter, the month of March.
So here we go. We got one over here. Got a question over here.
Hi, how are you? Good. The last time I came to this organization, I met someone and I connected them with a corporation. My company did pro bono connecting with a corporation, and they're going to have some funds. And so some of the things that I need to know listening to you, and I love D1 meetings because we're able to find out how we can help, is do you all have a press kit? And do you all have a PayPal account? Because a lot of times the community just want to send you $30, $50 and make those contributions. Does the school have a PayPal set up where they can make instant donations like that? So just some things to think about, because that's helpful, you know, so if people want to make quick donations, they can, and it's effective. Small donations do add up, and so when I think about partnering with an organization to do things like that, I'm not doing all the other stuff. The only thing I do is do the bridge. I need to know that those things are there because it's not hard, because there are companies who have budgets in Detroit that would help out, but you have to have the structure and organized to make it happen.
Good advice, great advice. I saw a whole lot of heads nodding on that
I was wondering if there was a public list anywhere of like the kind of stuff you're looking for. You said like there was like a lot of stuff you'd like to add. It'd be nice to be able to go look at a list and be like, oh, there's a thing for $50. If I give you $50, you get that thing. Here's $50.
I sure can, but each year the robot changes.
Right.
Okay,
You can have like a website.
Right. So what I can do is get with our engineers, because we do have engineers that volunteer, and they're from ZF. ZF is a manufacturing company for the Big Three in Livonia. And so they come out, they're generous, they help us build this robot, you know, with ideals. They do not touch our robot. The robot is for the kids. So I can ask them, because they're the ones that know the parts that we need. Like I said, I'm not in this. The kids started crying one day because the old robotics coach left. And guess what? They called me Mama D, Miss D, Coach D. She had to step up to the plate because I have a love for kids, and I didn't want to see the kids fall to the wayside.
Coach D, we have one over here.
Hello, my name is Sandra Sterling, and I'm the president of Calvary Community Association. And I was going to suggest that everyone here, we can reach their pocket for about $1, $2. We can pass it around and donate it to people that's here today. That would help them get started on their next project.
Thank you.
Have one here. So we have someone who has decided to organize it. So that's what we do in D1. We get Sarah?
I just need to say one thing. Ms. Sterling,
Yes.
thank you again. I just want to know, are you the Sandra Sterling that lives on the corner of Freeland and Shellfire?
Sounds like we have a match.
I'm Sharice, Ms. Sterling. I live next door to you. We're Doreen and Lynn. Grew up with your daughter. Oh my God, I love you.
Oh, I love you too. Thank you. That is a connection that we need.
All right, we have one.
Yes. Oh, Sterling. Oh my God.
All right, we have one over here for you.
I was wondering, this is a wonderful program, but I know a lot of times if our children haven't started young, taking math and things that will get them there, they're not eligible to come into these programs. Is yours one of those type of programs where they have to have that math prior to?
No. Actually, I have just started with our other schools, which is Madison Carter, Washington Park, Frederick, Lincoln King, and Jefferson Douglas. Jefferson Douglas used to be Cornerstone's old private school. It is now a public charter school. We will what we do is we get those schools to feed in. And our high school students will teach them, because robotics goes back to Legos. And of course, everything is about numbers. That's mathematics you do not have to have, we teach you.
All right, so what we want to do?
We have a couple things going on. Cornerstone is just a little bit, it's not like the normal school. Cornerstone is just what it says. It's about health and technology. We are partners with Beaumont Hospital for our interns. We have Lear Corporation, and he is an intern with great pay this summer. I'm talking about he's going out here with some high 5-digit numbers for the summer. We do a lot. We do a lot in Cornerstone. We have a coding class as well, so we teach our kids.
All right, so what we want to do is we want to make sure you all don't leave empty-handed. We have awards of recognition for you all. Now give it up for our team. Earl Jordan. Get up for Earl Jordan. Tracy Patterson. Peterson, I'm sorry. Right there. That's correct. My eyes. Darnell Ruffin. Dorian Jackson. Justin Ford. And what's your name again? India was a new addition today, so we're going to take care of you as well, India. So we're going to get you. So give it up for the team again. Let's take a photo, y'all.
Everybody come up this way, please. You too. All right. And if everybody can just hold up one finger for District 1, please. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Give it up for the roll call.
So come on. We're gonna let you get back there and kind of, you all look what you did. And there's more coming. Feel like a pastor. They keep on coming. They're coming. So we appreciate you all. I think the last time we did something like this, we were over at another school and we got a bicycle. We got a bicycle. This is what happens when the community comes together, y'all. This is wonderful. So we want you to make sure, who should they write the checks out to?
Cornerstone Health and Technology High School.
All right, so you can go back there and count this for us. All right? And you won't come back and let these folks know what they did to level my fees. Appreciate it, y'all. So let me just tell you, our D1 family is expanding. We have now, I don't know if many of you heard about these new, close the door for me, new position called the District Business Liaison. So now we in District 1, we're special, I would say, because we have a small business initiative. Other districts don't have that. So they need an extra little push. But we have in District 1 someone who is very familiar with our area, who grew up in the area, and she is a new part of the District 1 family, Ms. Tanisha Johnson. Come on up, if we just talk a little bit about our District Business Liaison. That's what I said right, right? All right, really want to come and tell us about words? All right, so she's affiliated with Detroit Economic Growth Corporation. So we actually have some heavyweights behind her. So when you see her, she's actually walking and she can talk and back up the walk and talk. All right? So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're going to be doing. Come on.
Good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for the warm introduction. I am Tanisha Johnson. I am your new District 1 Business liaison. So what that means is I am a resource. I'm here for the business community. How many business owners are in the room? Anybody own a business, building? Okay, I'll make sure I connect with y'all after the meeting. But what I am here for is for you to come to me, any concerns, any problems, any resources. And I kind of play middleman between council, between the Department of Neighborhoods, between some of the departments within the city. But my place is the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, DEGC. So our role is to strengthen the economy in Detroit by providing resources, talent, innovation, and we do that by partnering with all these different companies and place-based organizations, community organizations, and we bring those resources to the business community. So Build Institute, some of the programs that we offer, Motor City Restore, Motor City Match, some of the organizations that you see, the new stores that are popping up. Oftentimes they've come through our programs so that they can get their business started, whether it's getting access to develop their business plan, access to money so you can actually start your business. If you're looking for a business location, where do you find a store? How do you get money for that building? We can help you do that. So even if you have an idea, you can come to me. I will connect you to the right person. Or if you have an existing business and you have an issue, whether it's moving, getting sidewalks repaired, or, you need to connect to the police department. We're coming to y'all soon. We didn't get to y'all yet, but we are coming. But just feel free to reach out to me. Happy to be here. I am not from District 1. I'm an East Sider, actually. 8 Mile in the Dequindre area, but definitely looking to move to the district, though. So keep a eye out for that. I am coming here. Happy to be here. Any questions? Feel free to reach out. Yes. Sure. I have cards for you, but you can reach me at Switch. Thank you. Tanisha Johnson. And let's start with email. It's tjohnson@degc.org, Detroit Economic Growth Corporation. And phone number is 313-460-0775. And just to add to that, each district has one. So I'm District 1, but you'll see a lot of us popping up in some of the other districts as well, and we're a team of 7. So if there's something that I can't get to, I got a whole team. I got an awesome director behind me. We're a support system, so we're here to serve the business community. Any other questions? Anybody? All right. Yes.
I'm sorry, can you say your official title one more time?
District 1 Business Liaison.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Tanisha Johnson. Gotta see your face around here, y'all. All right. Thank you so much. And we also like to recognize Pastor Williams. Pastor Williams, thank you. Pastor, you want to say a few words? We almost got to let the man who allowed us to have the meeting in the room an opportunity to say some words. Thank you.
Praise the Lord. How you doing, Councilman? Bless you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for holding us here. God bless everybody. Amen. It's so good to see our neighbors here today coming out. Wow, such a big family. We just moved in here 6 months ago. And it's just a pleasure that the councilman would come and have you here. We just appreciate you, Councilman Tate. Thank you. Just it gives you a little of what we've done in the last 6 months. This place has been down for a long time, but our bishop, the Honorable Bishop John Henry Sheard, saw fit that we would come in and support this neighborhood. So we're here. We want to embrace the churches that are here, the neighborhood block clubs that are here. So we're having our grand opening June the 3rd, and Bishop John Henry Sheard to be here to dedicate the church. And everybody's welcome. We'll be passing out flyers. Have anybody been seeing any flyers for the church in the neighborhood? You haven't? All right, I get on my focus. That's right. Amen. So but what we do, we are funded, we run a program funded by Detroit Wayne Mental Health Authority for mental illness and substance abuse. We have some flyers in the back, and what we do transitional housing with supportive services at 2 other locations here in the city of Detroit. One on Livernois, and the other one behind U.D., where people come in out of treatment. We put them in treatment and we house them for up to a year. Amen. So if someone has somebody that might be have some problems with housing for mentally ill or some substance abuse problems, we have some flyers in the back. So I just want to thank you for allowing us to host this today.
Thank you.
Amen. I want my wife to stand up too so you see her face. Stand up, sweetheart. This is First Lady Williams.
Let us know whatever we can do. We welcome you into the D1 fold. All right. And we thank you for being here, investing in this building that has been shuttered for 13 years, y'all. And now it's life and my time. Thank you. Pastor. All right. Now we've had all that happy stuff. Now let's talk about the rates. No, I'm just kidding. So we have today. How many of you know that the drainage fee is increasing next month, June 1st? And anytime we start talking about water department, we know we all have a feeling because there's never any good news that we necessarily hear coming out of the water department. Usually it's rates that are increased, or there's some piping that has to take place and it ruins our yard. So most of us don't have really good feelings about the water department. Now, I don't even try to set you up. But I won't set you up. But there's a method behind some of the changes that are happening with the water department. So we wanted to make sure that you all have the information firsthand and direct on what changes are being made. And we don't want you to just talk about the rate increase. We want you to talk about overall, because if we are paying more money, we know where that money is going towards and why it's going towards that. Why this time as opposed to 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago, last year. Why now and not tomorrow? So if we can please, let me make sure I get to the name. We can please give a warm welcome for Ms. Chandra Lewis, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Councilman Tate, for all of your wonderful work. You and your team's work here in D1. I am Chandra Lewis. I am representing Detroit Water and Sewer. Make sure I'm not too close. Let me get over this way. How y'all doing? Good. Thank you for having me. I see some friends in the room. Hey, Jody. Hey, Segal. I have to give a shout out to you all. How many of you all have heard of the Herb Family Foundation? Jody and Segal are with the Herb Family Foundation, and they do wonderful things. Please look them up after you leave this meeting, and thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you. Thank you for your support. Some of what I'll talk about here, they have been a tremendous help and support of, so thank you. Good to see the business liaisons. Long time no see. Really good to see you. So, a few friends here. But hopefully I'll just take a few minutes of your Saturday to hopefully educate you and give you some new information about, as Councilman Tate said, kind of the method behind all of this. What actually is going on? What infrastructure is in place? What you're paying for, to be quite honest. And the department recognized we haven't done a really good job of coming out and doing this and talking to you about the services the department provides and what you are paying for. So hopefully you'll get one or two things from my talk today that you didn't have prior that will help you understand your bill and help you understand what changes are happening going forward. So, how many of you all know what a combined sewer system is? Good, so few hands, okay. So good, that means that's an education opportunity for some of you. Detroit has a combined sewer system. As this chart explains, and I hope I'm not blocking it for some of you, during dry weather, sewage, yucky stuff from your house,
gets combined in the same pipe as rainwater and snowmelt. They go in the same pipe, so they're combined in the same pipe, and they go to the wastewater treatment plant and are treated and cleaned. However, during wet weather, like what we saw last night, what we're seeing today, we get tremendous amounts of rain. And particularly over the last few years, I think all of you all can agree that we've been seeing major changes in storms and how the weather, how the rain is falling. When we have a wet weather event, what happens is the flow of that wet weather combined with sewage leads to outfalls, leads to discharges, sewage discharges. So what happens is, this is the riverfront. How many of you all have been to the riverfront lately? It's beautiful. I read recently it's one of the most beautiful riverfronts in the world. We have a jewel here that we need to protect and be proud of. But what happens is, during a wet weather event, and you can't see that here and I won't bother with the video. This is actually a video that's available on YouTube. What happens is that beautiful blue water that we see in the Detroit River, it's combined with yucky, black, smelly sewage. And this video shows, you can see the clear delineation between blue water and black sewage. That is what we call an untreated discharge event, and we cannot have that happen. It destroys the precious jewel that we have, the riverfront, and it's a regulatory issue. The Clean Water Act of 1972, this is a federal law, together with Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, is aiming for Detroit to have zero of these events to occur. Thanks to a lot of the changes that have happened over the years, we've been able to minimize these types of events from happening. But we're not there yet. And until we get there, we have to continue working to get to zero, to get to where we don't have this type of discharge happening in our rivers. One of the things that took place was Detroit invested $1.5 billion, that's with a B, that's correct, $1.5 billion in combined sewer overflow facilities. 9 of these facilities anchor the city. They're strategically placed in locations so that we can capture stormwater, pre-treat it, screen it, before it's slowly released into the sewage system, and then giving the wastewater treatment system time to process it. There are 9 of these facilities. Let's see, probably the closest one, Greater Grace Church. Anyone know where Greater Grace is?
Yes.
There's actually a facility right behind Greater Grace Church.
Frankel
Probably never knew.
Frankel and Telegraph.
Exactly, that's another one. Shane Park. Any people go to concerts or events at Shane Park? Shane Park? Nobody goes to Shane Park? Okay. This picture right here, any of you all have noticed there's a building behind Shane Park with a green roof on it? I thought it was the office for Shane Park until I started working with the water department. That is actually a combined sewer overflow facility. It has an important job. It's helping to capture rainwater and snowmelt in that area, holding it in a wet weather storm so that giving the system time to process the water and that so that we don't have these overflow situations. This is infrastructure hiding in plain sight that you've been paying for years, but probably never knew about. You never knew about it. We've given out some information to you, and one of which is an explanation of your bill. I've come to find out that many people don't really understand what makes up your bill. There's actually 5 components to your bill. There's a water usage and service charge component. There's a sewerage, 2 components to a sewerage charge, and the drainage charge. The drainage charge is helping to recover the costs for this activity. Drainage charge is helping us all to manage stormwater and to keep nasty raw sewage out of our rivers. That's really what the drainage charge is intended to do. So, two things I wanted to drive home with you today is, one, we have to keep our Detroit and Rouge Rivers clean. It's a must, it's law, it's regulation. We have to, and it's the right thing to do. Hope you agree with that. 2, it's not a new charge. It's been part of your water bills at least since 1975. We believe before that, but at least in 1975 when city charter authorized that. However, it was not really clear to you that that's what you were paying for. You didn't know you were paying for that infrastructure. And the drainage charge was not itemized on your bill until a year or so ago. Before that, it was embedded in your sewerage charges. How many of you all wondered why sewer charges were so much higher than water? Anybody else know? This is why. You actually were paying for the treatment and the infrastructure not only to manage the sewage coming out of your house, but you were also paying for the management of stormwater. Hopefully that's news. Hopefully that helps you understand things a little bit better. So, why all of a sudden are we hearing about drainage charge now? I've been paying for it all this time. What is all this talk about for drainage? Well, in 2016, the department took a look at our billing system and found some very interesting things happening in the billing system. This is an example of what was found, particularly in commercial properties, non-residential properties. This is actually 2 churches, Church A, Church B. Both about equal size, both with the same amount of parking lot, kind of hard surface on the property. One church was paying, and that's not a typo, $9,500 a month in drainage. The other church was paying about $300 a month in drainage. We kept seeing so many examples of this type of inequity. Same types of property size and characteristics, but drastically different payments. And as we dug further, we found out that amongst the non-residential properties, about 40% of them were being billed for drainage based on the amount of hard surface on their property. I'll get into that in just a second. And then we looked and we said, okay, but then there were some other churches, other properties, about 20% were based on the size of their water meter, a fixed amount. They were paying either $20.63 or $180, a fixed fee every month that was connected to their water meter. And then we found that there were a bunch of properties, parking lots in particular, that were not receiving a drainage charge at all. And you can say, how did that happen? I'll tell you exactly how. A parking lot is not a Detroit water customer. It doesn't have a sink. It doesn't have a toilet. It doesn't receive water. So therefore, it wasn't a customer. However, think about all of the water and the snow melt that comes off of parking lots over the course of a year. So technically, they were benefiting from a service that they were contributing flows into. So the department took the hard decision and said, we need to start billing these properties that are benefiting from this service. And that's what happened. So in 2016, October of 2016, that 40%, about roughly 22,000 properties, started receiving a bill for drainage. And we recognized at that point in time that we needed to start moving everyone towards an equal billing position. So that's what's happening with the drainage charge. Starting in 2016 and over the 5-year period, a transition period, we are going to be slowly moving all of these customers that were paying in what we call 3 different ways or not paying at all. We're going to gradually move all customers, industrial, city-owned properties are charged for drainage. City-owned properties are charged for drainage. Everyone is charged for drainage. And we want to make sure that everyone gets charged at the same rate and on the same basis. How are we charging? We're not going to charge based on meter size because meters really have nothing to do with the amount of snowfall, snow melt, and rainfall on your property. Instead, we're going to move everyone to the same rate that's based on the amount of hard, impervious, big word, impervious surface on your property. Let me explain to you what impervious is. If I were to take this bottle of water and pour it on this table, what would happen? It would run off. I think I heard most of you all, the water would run off. That's exactly what happens to rain and snow melt on your rooftops, on your driveways, on the hard surfaces of your property. So, many cities, not only Detroit, many cities are moving towards this type of billing method for stormwater management. So we are moving towards a charge of a more equitable charge, and a more actually appropriate charge, trying to charge you for your impact to the sewer system, trying to charge you for the amount of rainfall or snow melt that falls off of your property and goes into the sewer system. So, in July of 2018, so as Councilman Tate mentioned, there will be a change coming in the drainage charge. As for residents, we will move all residents to this methodology. However, there's good news. Not everyone is going to see an increase. In fact, according to our calculations, we believe, I don't have that chart in here, we believe some, yes I do, 56% of residents are going to see a decrease in the charge. Let me repeat that again. We believe some 56% of residents will see a decrease in their charge. Right now, $20.63 of your bill goes towards drainage. When we move to this hard surface billing, people with less than 0.05 acres of hard surface will see a decrease. Say it again, decrease in their drainage charge. Your bill will go down. If you have larger properties, larger roofs, larger driveways, etc., you might see an increase. And there's ways that we're looking to try to help and manage some of those increases. But for at least 56% of Detroit residents, you will see a decrease. So One last slide, and then I'll take some questions. How do I know what I'm going to pay? A couple of things. A mailer is going out to homes. I believe it started this week. And so over the next 3 or 4 weeks, you should be receiving a mailer with similar information to what I've handed you today. And there's some online tools that you can use to determine how much hard surface you have on your property. This website, DetroitMI.gov, DWSD Parcel Viewer, I'll repeat it again, DetroitMI.gov/DWS. Parcel Viewer. DWSD Parcel Viewer. That is a website that was created. You go in, you type in, you put in your address in this upper left-hand corner bar here. It'll, a visual kind of a Google map will appear. You click on the dotted line of your parcel, and this information box pops up, giving you your total acres and impervious acres. The impervious acre number. The impervious acre number is the number that you want to use, and that's what you use to calculate your bill. You take that number, in this case, it's 0.5, this customer has 0.05. You multiply that by the residential rate, including a green credit of $4.26. This customer will pay $21.32 in drainage. Almost, a little higher, but almost equivalent to what they're paying today. The important thing is residents are receiving about 25% green credit automatically. Why? Why are you receiving that? A couple of reasons. Look at these 3 types of properties. This is a residential property on the left. What does it have that makes it different from the other 2 to the right of it? More green space, yes. So residents are receiving a green credit largely because you have more green. More green. We are recognizing and realizing that water, if it flows to green space, gets absorbed into grass. That means it doesn't get to the sewer system. So, as residents typically have more green space, and if downspouts are connected, how many of you all have your downspouts from your gutters running to the grass, not directly into the ground? Yay! Yay, 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 yay! That's some wonderful news. Thank you. Awesome news. If you do not, contact the water department. We, over the next few years, are going to be helping and assisting customers. It is state law that those should be disconnected. The more you can help keep stormwater out of the sewer system, the less it has to be treated, and therefore the less costs we incur to manage stormwater. So with that, I think I will take some questions.
All right. Hold on, before we start, let's switch mics. And we'll start up here and then we'll move our way back.
Hi there. How about, can you talk about green credits for things like rain gardens?
I'm glad you asked that question. Yes, we actually have been partnering with Sierra Club and working with our nonprofit partners on promoting what we call green infrastructure practices. Rain gardens, how many of you all have seen, I don't have a picture here, rain gardens and rain barrels, those really beautiful flowery gardens? Yes, those are what we call green infrastructure practices. They're typically engineered, designed practices that help absorb and manage stormwater. So, in the case of rain barrels, let me address that first. In the case of rain barrels, they offer a huge benefit, particularly on the water side. So, if you can use rain barrels, I think the typical one is what, 50 gallons, I believe? 50 gallons, that's 50 gallons of stormwater that you can capture, that you can use to water your lawn in the summer, and that's less water usage that you have to pay on the water side of your bill. With the 25% credit that residents will automatically get for, let's call it having more green space, let's put it that way, and disconnected downspouts, technically, your rain barrel or your rain garden or whatever you have on your property would have to get over and above that 25%. So, if you're capturing a whole lot of water and stormwater that's over and above that 25%, you could get an additional credit. However, we found through our research that it's very difficult for a residential property to get above that 25% credit.
So we catch off our roof 750 gallons of barrels off the roof of our house.
Okay.
Would we? Is that enough?
Then definitely.
So the 50 gallon, I just want to throw it out there.
Yeah.
50 gallon barrels is very cute. But an average rainfall, we fill a 275 gallon tote for one rainfall.
I agree. Yeah. So it sounds like you're dealing with much larger than your average 50 gallons. So I would say, any questions about credits, or if you want to apply for further green credits, DWSD, I'm sorry, I keep the Lego blocking. DWSD, DetroitMI.gov/drainage. You can email drainage@DetroitMI.gov or call 313-267-8000.
All right, we have one over here.
Yeah, I have basically no, let's see, impervious is covered with cement, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have basically no impervious areas. I have no cement anywhere around the house, my driveway. The only cement I have is a short walkway from my stairs.
Okay.
So how do they, do they have a picture of every house so that there's no dispute on this or what?
Yes, ma'am. So that website that I gave, that DetroitMI.gov /DWSD parcel viewer.
I just tried to go into it and it say unavailable, so maybe it's just in here.
Okay. Yep, if you go to that website, it'll tell you exactly how much your property has. It sounds like you should have very, very little. I didn't mention, if you have less than 0.02, which might, in your case, be the case, the charge is 0. You are not charged for drainage if you have 0.02 or less, or if you discharge to the river, you are not charged for drainage. So again, we're trying to base this on the amount of stormwater or rainfall, snow melt, I can get it right here, that you contribute to the system. So if you have very little hard surface, less to no charge.
Have one over here.
Are you sending out information to all residents who
Yes,
want
ma'am.
that? And to make an inquiry now, they have to provide social security number, account number, driver's license, proof of ownership of the property or tenancy?
To open up.
Are you sending that out to each and every one of us?
What you'll be receiving is information on this drainage charge, this change in the drainage charge billing. But to answer your question, yes, to open a water account now, proof of ownership, social security number, etc. is required.
It doesn't say to open up an account. It says if you have an account, you have to show this information to get information on your bill. So you're saying go
to get information on your bill. Okay. Okay. Yes, and technically, I'll tell you the reason why that changes is because as the Detroit Department is issuing a service, if people don't pay, the only way to try to go after that is we need to have someone to bill to. So in many cases, there is no one to bill to. It's just called resident. So for purposes of collections and further processes, we're trying to get better in our billing system so that we can have someone to bill to.
But this is This was an inquiry we made to see why my bill had jumped from 1 month to another, $40. I called to make an inquiry on the rate, and I wasn't
They
asked
asked you
for
about
10
your-
days.
okay.
So this is the letter that I got. They gave you the information, but
Okay.
from now on, this is the information you have to give to get information, to make an inquiry.
Let me speak to you separately about that, ma'am. It could be that yours might be a special case. Let me just make sure that that's the case. Yes.
Yes, I have a couple of them. One, I want to know what is happening with the building downtown and all the concrete, because you don't see a whole lot of grass around there. Are these businesses being charged more than we as residents? And two, you're saying, the literature saying that because of the dirt that goes into the sewer from the drains, wouldn't it help if the water department came out and cleaned these sewers like they should? They used to come out and clean the sewers when I was growing up. You never see anybody come out and clean a sewer unless the street or water main breaks and they have to come out. So if they came and cleaned the sewers on a regular basis, that would help. And also, if the city came and swept the streets like they used to, except when it's an election year.
I'll address your first two questions, ma'am. The first question was, are businesses and people with concrete being charged? All customers are being charged based on the amount of hard surface. Even city-owned properties are being charged based on the amount of their hard surface on their property.
Her question was, is it at the same rate?
Actually, the businesses may not be getting that 25% credit. So actually, they may be paying more, a higher rate.
Let me just say,
So this is city. So right now, this is governing the city. This is for Detroit.
All right, so the other question that was asked was about the cleaning of the sewers and the street sweeping. So as a council member, these are contracts that have come to us.
Yes.
And we approve them. So there are these machines called vectors.
Yes.
We have purchased a number of, I can't remember what
I saw one on the way here, actually.
They're actually
Yeah.
doing that now
Yeah.
as we speak. And there's been a cycle that has been created for the street sweeping as well.
Correct.
I think honestly, if we did more of our own street sweeping, we won't need the machines to do it, but we have, as city council, approved the contract for new vectors, and there are also new employees that are going to be operating that machinery that was provided to us by the administration. So just wanted to give you that information.
Thank you, Councilman.
Hi, my question is kind of based on a comment she made. Why do you need our social security number to make inquiries about our own accounts?
I'll be honest, I have to check into that. I do know that if new accounts are open, and we're trying to make sure updating the billing system has someone to bill to. So that's what I'm aware of, is that they're trying to make sure that we have a billable person to the account. I just want to make sure your situation is not unique.
Okay. Okay, I hope this question is relevant. Our water bill is in my husband's name. When I called since March, this is effective since March, I can't, if I don't have a bill, they won't talk to me. And not only will they not talk to me, they said that he has to physically come to the water department and sign an affidavit giving me permission. I said, well, can you send it? And I get a notarized statement. And they said, no, he has to physically come. And this has been effective since March. We've been married there for 7 years. And so how is this, like these changes that are taking place seem to be making things more complicated.
Okay. Again, I think that might be a unique situation. I'll take that. I'll see you here and make sure I take that back to the customer service team.
And so what we will also do, DeAndre, Lisa, Daniela, we're going to line item that as well and send that to the Public Health and Safety Committee to get a response as to the change, so you can actually have the information in front of you. So we won't just rely on you, we'll also be the conduit. So Daniela, we make sure we touch base with her afterwards so we can get her information once we get it from the department.
Thank you. So I'm sure you're acutely aware that any increases in people's water bills is inevitably going to result in thousands more people having their water shut off. There are too many thousands of people in Detroit who already have had their water shut off. I mean, you haven't even mentioned this anywhere in your presentation. It's like the elephant in the room. I would really encourage you in future presentations to address this more clearly, but what plans, if any, does the water department have for the inevitable consequences of this substantial rate increase?
Thank you for that, and you are right. I jumped right into the drainage charge presentation, and I failed to mention that one of the handouts that I handed out to you is on the WRAP program. Are any of you all familiar with or enrolled in the Water Residential Assistance Program? No. Okay, so hopefully, maybe, you can look at that for yourself or for your neighbor. There are programs like WRAP. WRAP is income-based, but there are also the 10, 30, 50, and a number of assistance programs that are intended exactly to do that, to put you on a payment plan and to help you manage their bill. I want to say to that elephant, ma'am, there is a path to no interruptions. There is assistance available. There is a path to no interruption. There is assistance available.
It sounds like, though, that we've got to get the word out more about that. These are, I mean, to be honest with you, I say it all the time, these are the folks who actually are the cream of the crop when you start talking about community organizing and the folks who represent their neighborhoods, and for them not to know.
Sure.
I want to take some of that blame as well as the councilman who represents the district, but we need to make sure that in all the meetings that you all have been having, that information is at the forefront. As Pam indicated, it should be like really one of the
I'll start with that first. Thank you for that. I'll start with that first, but yes, that's exactly why we brought these flyers here today, but you're right. There's information on that program and more available at that same information, same phone number, same website. Also, many of you all may have been seeing there's billboards and some information now that we're making more available of how people can keep their water flowing. So there is help available.
So we've got, we're going to be running over a little bit, so we've got a few more questions before we get to the end of the program. We've got to talk about the kids, how much you all raised before we leave out of here. We have one question, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. All right.
How does the city water know or accommodate situations where you change from an impervious situation to a pervious? Because I had a cement driveway which I replaced with brick pavement. Now, how does the city accommodate that?
When you go to that website and check your hard surface, the impervious acreage, it might be wrong. It might have changed since we took our flyover of the city. If it is wrong, go to that website. There's a form there that's an adjustment form where you can request an adjustment to the information that we have. Submit that form, and we are happy to change the amount. You can send us a picture, you can give us some evidence of the change, and we'll be happy to change that for you.
All right, thank you. We have one here.
Well, you just about answered my question with that one. What I wanted to know was I went to your website and I looked at the flyover pictures that you took. A lot of them, we live in a very wooded area, which means that you don't see the driveway.
Yep.
You have created driveways where there are none. So I would like to know, when are you guys going to correct that, or how that's going to be taken care of?
Yes, and that's a great add-on to that question, to the previous question. Sometimes the flyover may catch a shadow of a tree, and it may look like it's a hard surface, but it's not 100%, so it could be inaccurate. Please go and get that adjustment form. Impervious adjustment form is what you're looking for, and complete that, and we will make a change. Also, we're in the process of updating the flyover. We're trying to get to an annual basis so that hopefully some of those inaccuracies will be better corrected.
We have one here.
My question is that I have paid my water bill, and a couple times I had to go out of town. So I mail the bill maybe 2 weeks in advance. But when the next bill comes, I get so threatening that they're going to shut my water off. if you mail it too soon, that gives that money too much of a chance to run around in circles before you get credit. So I went up to the water to pay the following bill. But before I did that, I went on my computer to check my council check. And I found out that this check, it was cashed in Minnesota. The back of that check had a Minnesota bank. So
she would know the
Yeah.
details of it. So what are we looking to do?
No, it's what I want her to do. Like it's nothing, you know, just going up and standing in line at the water department and pay your bills, even though the water rates are already surprised. You got to go through this. But if you can't mail it in, and the check don't go straight to where it's supposed to go. Like I said, the back of this check had a Minnesota bank. Now, how does that happen?
She wouldn't know. I'm going to be honest with you. She's here to talk about drainage. So what we would have to do is get that from you. Daniela, we can get that information.
I will say, but on payment, sometimes it does take a while from the time you put it in your mailbox, the carrier gets it, gets to DWSD, it gets processed. Sometimes that can take a long time. So we definitely encourage actually people to mail early. I also want to make sure that you all are aware that there's online payments as well. There's portal payments. There are a number of different options for you to pay your bill as well.
All right, we have one here. One room, one meeting. We still hear you.
My question is, you're mentioning a lot of online and getting, you know, that piece I get, tech savvy and all of that. How are you working with seniors who are not online savvy, can't get out? You have all this information, they're going to get a bill, they're on fixed income. What's the water department plan on getting to that particular group? That probably, some of them don't have any additional family to help them through figure out that process. So where are you with that?
It's a very good question. So you're right. We are trying to make sure that we're meeting all needs. So we've done a lot to try to put as much information online as possible, but we also still do a lot with paper. We still do a lot in person. We still have staff. We've actually increased the staff of our phone line to handle questions for this program about this change, specifically to help those people who don't have the access to the online information. I go meet with the AARP chapter. I've met with them at least about 3 or 4 times. We're going to continue to follow up with them. So we are doing concerted outreach, particularly with church citizens.
Our last question for you, Ms. Lewis.
My concern is, you know, and I appreciate the information that you bring me there. I'm not jumping down your throat, but it's just one of my pet peeves. You talked about this 25% credit that we're going to be receiving, but you're talking about on drainage. The problem is with the sewage charges. And I understand that those sewage charges were increased the way they were to offset something from purchases or something that had been made to upgrade the system. When is that going to be paid for? Are we ever going to receive the credit? You're talking about information that came into the office. I think one of the things you said was 2015. It's obvious there are some record-keeping problems that have been in the past, and the focus is there. But what about something that's going to be of benefit to the people? One of the things that she said was very important. You had to send me a survey. I disconnected my downspout, so nothing is going off my roof. All of that's going on through the grass. I paid all of that money having that stuff disconnected. Nobody ever asked me if I did it. But I'm still receiving all these outrages, and the charges that I'm most concerned about is the sewage. That's like 3 times the amount of water that I use. And I appreciate the drainage. That's not the problem.
So I just want to make sure you understand, I believe your drainage charge is actually part of your sewage.
But
so,
there's also a separate sewage charge
correct.
that is much higher than that drainage.
Correct. So there's a charge also so there's operations and administration folks, we gotta pay. We gotta run that wastewater treatment plant 365 days a year to treat the nasty stuff that's coming out of your house. That is in addition to the rainwater and the snow that goes into the same pipe for it to be clean. So that's why all
of this just started happening when the rates went up like that?
So I'm not quite sure what you mean, but I'm specifically focusing on the drainage piece of it. 56% with this change that's coming, 56% of residents will see a decrease to the portion of that drainage charge bill. So hopefully you're in that 56%.
Well, that's a small amount. We're talking about $4 or $5 a month, as opposed to $60 a month for the drainage.
So it looks like we need to bring you back, Ms. Lewis.
Absolutely. I'm happy
There's
to.
a whole bunch of things that we can talk about when it comes to Detroit Water and Sewage Department. But we want to thank you for being here today. I'll give it up for Shonda Lewis. All right, Cameron. How much money do we raise? D1 community. All right, let's come on out.
Gotcha. So this is a quick moment to talk about it. Come on out, kids. Come on. With the assistance of you all at our meeting this morning, we had the opportunity to raise how much money for the robotic state?
$248. And all of the suggestions and comments that were made. Monday, I will get with corporate so we can set up a PayPal account, because no, we have none of that. Everything goes into the school account. And I don't kind of like all that, but we're gonna make sure that we set up that separate account so that anytime you guys, and we'll put it back out there, we'll give it to Aaron and Councilman Tate and Reginald to make sure that you guys have that information at your next meeting.
One more time, how can they reach you when we get over?
You can reach us at Cornerstone Health and Technology High School, located at 17351 at Southfield Road, if you choose to come out. But our phone number is 313-486-4280. And then you can also contact myself, Sharice Donaldson, at 313-510-8781.
Thank you so much. Round of applause again, folks. And now it is time for community announcements. We are in overtime, so if you could come to the front on my right side, give your community announcements. There are also flyers in the back. So quickly, anyone else? Young lady?
Thank you. Good afternoon. So I just wanted to let everybody know that REACH will be up here in the front table collecting any of the surveys that you want to hand out to, so give those to her. We also wanted everyone to fill out a comment card for us, just to give us some feedback on anything you want to tell us about Councilman Tate's office. Those we're collecting in the back. Ms. Lewis, will you be up front to answer questions? No, I know there's a couple of you all. So I think if you stay in one location, that will help you. So if you're looking to ask any questions of Ms. Lewis, she'll be up here in the front. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, last time that we had a D1 meeting, I was indicating to everybody that April 30th was the 8th Precinct Community Relations Board election. I have some of the members here. Can you guys stand up for a second? This is your 8th Precinct Community Relations Board members. Yelena, Corresponding Secretary. Brad Wilson is the President, and I am the Vice President. Just want to say thank you for your support. And our meeting is always the last Monday of the month at 7 p.m. at the 8th Precinct Auditorium. The next meeting, because this is a holiday month, the meeting will be the previous Monday. So our next meeting is Monday, the 21st of May. And we're having 2 speakers, one from Detroit PAL. The kids are getting out of school shortly, so they'll be discussing some youth programs that will be starting between May going forward, and a 45-minute presentation with what's going on with the shootings and everything throughout the states. We have a 45-minute presentation from John Harris. He'll be doing an active shooter presentation. So we invite you all to come out, and again, that's this Monday, the 21st, at 7 p.m. in the auditorium of the 8th Precinct. And last quick thing, we just finished celebrating National Police Month, Police Appreciation. And the Feed the Police event was this past Friday. I want to thank Aaron, all of the people who had came and donated and volunteered food items for the Feed the Police yesterday. And thank you for the chocolate cake, Councilman Tate's office. But it was a huge success. And again, thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, guys. Last announcement, Monday, June 11th, 6:45 a.m. at Ludington Manning Middle School, 19501 Bird Road. Men, we need you to come out and greet the kids. A little bit of time goes a long way in the lives of our children to show them that we, the village, care about them. Thank you all for coming on out. Drive safely. Please clean up your table before you go. We have one more announcement. Here. I'm acknowledging. Representative Santana, how are you? I want to give her a round of applause as well. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Please clean up before you head out. Drive safe.